Do you have to adjust the pH at all? That's a common thing that people look at when using synthetic nutrients is they'll mix it up in their nutrient solution, then they'll adjust to the pH. What does your pH come out to before, and then what do you adjust it to?
Before I adjust it, it's usually around 6.8, almost 7, and I try to get that down to 6, 5.8, 6, around there, 5.8 or 6.0.
What do you use to adjust down?
Just the GH, General Hydroponics pH down.
Got it. So I believe that's a phosphoric acid, but I'm not 100% sure. But yeah, those acids are very commonly used in order to adjust the pH down. Now, with the organics, are you pHing at all? Like, are you monitoring the pH, whether it be?
Not at all. That's
not
the
at all.
thing about it. Yeah. I mean, I know I can, but the plant's been showing me that she's doing good and she's fine. She's happy. So I don't think I need to change anything on that side right now.
That's another way that it makes things easier is you don't have to adjust the pH. At least in your particular case. I'm not sure, we'll talk about water here in a minute, but your initial water source is certainly going to tell you whether or not you need to do that pH adjustment. Some people, it comes out of their tap at 8 pH or higher, and they're like, I have to adjust the pH or else I come across problems. But if your tap water or your filtered Oro, whatever water source you're using, if it falls within that, 6 to 7 range roughly, sometimes it can be up to 7.5 pH. People swear that they add that in and they don't do any sort of pH adjustments and their plants are fine.
Yeah, when I check mine out the tap, it's at 7. But I still I let my reservoirs aerate overnight. I'll stick a air stone in the water, let that sit for at least 24 hours before I give it to any of my plants. Yeah.
It's also said to help eliminate some of that chlorine that's in there.
All that extra stuff that you don't want to give, yeah.
Yeah, depending on your local water source, it uses either chlorine or chloramine, although if chloramine's included, that's one thing that people really have to be aware of, is that isn't something that is just going to, if you have it sit overnight, it disappears. It's more of a stable molecule versus the chlorine. A lot of people just let it sit overnight. Some people let it sit and have an air stone in there like you do. Some people put it in light. They said that helps with it dissipating.
Well, my first 6 months when I started growing, I was buying water. So I was just buying distilled water every day. And that was getting expensive after a while, man. So I started testing with my tap water, and the plants didn't really give me too much of a reaction to everything normal the same. So I just stuck with that.
Man, I can only imagine. Yeah, I had a buddy who lived locally. He was buying water every time. He was buying reverse osmosis, and it adds up. I personally think over time, it's going to be worth it to buy a system that you can actually install like underneath your kitchen sink, for example, because they're pretty small. And a lot of these are now a 1-to-1 ratio. Before, a lot of the old systems are a 1-to-3. So what do I mean by that? It's basically for every 1 gallon of RO water that you get out of the system there, 3 gallons would be wasted.
Yeah.
Now, like I mentioned, it's a 1-to-1. So for every 1 gallon you get, only 1 gallon is wasted. And so, buying that, which is $250 roughly for that particular system. I'm talking about the 1-to-1 system. It can certainly save you money over the long run versus going and buying either reverse osmosis or distilled. It can be very, very costly doing that avenue.
Yeah, I'm definitely looking into getting something different and picking up a system for the house so I don't have to worry about the water anymore.
Go to the full episode by clicking the outro card here, or click the link in the description section below. Catch you in the next video.